Yeah. Welcome, everybody.
We're going to join the meeting here in just a second here. Marketing Hometown Paullina, and I hope you guys all get some good information from this meeting, and have them take it over.
That's good. Kind of like she said, welcome, everybody. I'm Jane Gokin. I'm a Community Development Specialist with Iowa State University Extension. And here, a year or two ago, Iowa State University Extension became became acquainted with a program that had been developed by South Dakota, North Dakota, and Nebraska Extension units with a grant from the Ag Department, and called Marketing Hometown America. And it was designed as a program to help small communities identify how they can market themselves better as a good place to live, to attract residents, to help people find them, when they're looking for a place to live, to help them find that community and make the community more attractive to new residents as well. And we had a really good group in Paullina that volunteered to be involved in this. And so what we're going to be doing tonight is they're going to talk a little bit about the process that they went through. It's called the study circle process, and they met 4 different times and talked about specific topics, and then came up with a draft marketing plan, what they think would be good ideas for Paullina to do in terms of marketing itself. When we're done with that, you can ask questions, you can add, but then we're also going to, anybody here that wants to add anything, that has any other ideas, we'll put those up too. And then we're going to have everybody vote to kind of prioritize which things that they want to make sure are at the top of the to-do list anyway. Anything else? So with that, we're going to go ahead and have the committee, and Brenda's going to start out, I think, talking about a little bit what they did.
Thanks, Jane. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming out today. Be sure to sneak off and get yourself some sugar, cookies, caffeine, or lemonade along the way today. I wore my, love where you're from shirt today. I figure that's appropriate, right? Because you wouldn't be here if you don't love where you're from. And we all do too, and that's why we put in a little extra effort over the last couple months here, meeting at the library to discuss ways we can help you guys and help all of us succeed in this town. Is it like this? Let's see if it works. Oh, it works. Okay, is that blurry to you, or is it just my glasses? It's blurry? Just a scope it blurry? All right. Stand your way. So we talked about exploring your potential for attracting new residents. Is your community ready to explore its potential? Oh wait, is this your reading? Sorry, I'm overstepping my bounds. Laura has a part to read right now. This is how we started out.
This was my one job for the entire meeting. It was just to help to keep us on the same vision. So it was in the pamphlet they handed out. It's create a vision to grow. Is your community ready to explore its potential to attract new residents? What makes your community unique, healthy, and alive? So what more could you do to build a kind of community that is welcoming, attractive, and comfortable? Marketing Hometown America empowers communities to create a vision to grow, designed as a tool to create dialogue that moves towards action. So it can be the spark to help a rural community look at itself in a new way. So we just really try to always remember that that's kind of what our vision was each night that we met.
Thank you, Laura. And our group was, our group was Laura and myself and Eric and Hyde Brown, Mark and Lexi Johansson are not here tonight. Tammy. Lexi's here?
Yes.
Thanks, Lexi. And Tammy Evans and Nicole Finnell were all part of our group. And we also had some honorary members, Dorothy and Charlie Harper, who visited us occasionally since we were at the library, and chipped in and gave us some great insights as well. So we had 4 official sessions. And it was through this, the extension group, and people put together this nice plan. They told us how to meet, how to talk it over, what to go through, and really work through it. And I'm going to make you guys do a little bit of homework tonight because it's not fair that just we did. So we talked about what is your connection to the community. A lot of us have reasons why we're here. Family, work, school, church. Are you a lifer? You grew up here and you just never left? Or did you move away and come back home like some of us? Anybody got any different options that aren't on that board? Or do you want to do show of hands? Who's got something that's not on the board? Why are you here? That's a hard question to start with, isn't it? Okay, we'll move on to an easier one. How does your community stack up? A community report card. So we had all kinds of, they provided us with some statistics. How many people live in Paullina as of the 2017 population? Who knows? Not the group, and you guys can't answer.
1,081.
1,081, that'd be great.
800.
Ooh, lower,
921.
Oh, we're getting closer. Who gets a free cookie? Oh, somebody was really close. 989 it says here, so he gets a free cookie. So that's right. So one of the assignments was we had a photo hunt. We had to all go out before the next time and then come back and show one of our favorite places or things we like about the town, and that got some great conversations going and made us think of different spaces we hadn't really even thought of for a while. So that was a fun thing to do. We're going to give you, since we can't do that tonight, since it's not the best weather and we don't want to have you walk around, we're going to do the community report card. Will you hand those out for people? This is a little great way to grade our community, and they have different categories. They'll hand that out if anybody needs a pen. We've got some of those. And we're just going to walk through this and let you guys score the town just like we have to. You have to think about safety, proximity to relatives, good and bad, right? Open spaces, a slower pace of life, lower cost of living, quality education. We have a spokesperson from that department here today. And recreation, healthcare, and opportunity to make a living. As you can see, those are all pretty much important, right? We don't want any of those categories to have a 1 in them. But you have to try to rank them from 1 through 5. Which one needs more improvement? And which one do you think we're doing a better job at? I'll give you guys a minute to write some notes on that. And a nice writing sheet.
Brenda, 1 is good, 5 is bad, or opposite?
I think it's the opposite, so 1 needs improvement, doesn't it? It's at the top of the scale. You just have to
I'm
sign
sorry, I
off.
can't read it.
So who wants delegate? We will assign it to your.
Obviously, education is one of the
A better place for people to live, maybe so if you guys want to go ahead.
Am I finding this easy, hard? Hard, isn't it? It's hard to weigh them. Decide who wins, who's more important, and what's. Make the teamwork going on here. Open it.
Thanks for joining us, everyone at home.
Not us. All right, is everybody pretty much done? I know you keep thinking on this for a while. We did have several sessions to talk about this, but we don't have all that kind of time because we want to get you guys back home later before it's too dark. So let's go through some of these. Anybody want to volunteer what they rank safety as? Who's got some numbers? 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5? What do we got?
Well, I think we're doing good. We're
Put
doing
it
good.
as a 4.
Yeah,
4, pretty good. 5, so we're all happy with that.
Yep.
Police department would be happy to know that. Proximity to relatives. Now, obviously, this all depends on your own answer. It's not really a universal one. What do we have on that? 5. 4s, 5s. Okay, open spaces.
Relatives.
Open spaces. 2, we've got 2, 5. Okay, some people love it. 5.
2.
And 2s. Well, we have some variance there. No, 2, 4, 5.
Oh, we got 2 on number 1, so, yeah.
So 2s could be better, right? Okay, let's keep that in mind. Slower pace of life. Well, we got 5s, we're good with that. Everybody's giving high 5s for that one. Compared to Vegas, this is definitely a 5 on that category here. Lower cost of living. Where are we on that scale? 4. 4 or 5?
4.
4 or 5, so okay, pretty good.
Eventually move.
Yeah, what perspective you have, right? How about quality education?
5.
That sounds, I would say, we better say 5. 6, yeah, 5 plus, right? Good answer, Chris, good answer. How about recreation? It's a little different than the open spaces, if you kind of judge them similarly. What are we doing on recreation? 4s? 4s, pretty good.
As long as we reconnect the bike.
Right, a big if, right?
It would be nice to have like an exercise.
Yeah, better soda area.
Yeah.
Spaces, okay.
Right, we have to back here.
2.
2?
Yeah.
2.
Okay. Yeah, you want to offer a Y on Y2?
The closest fitness center is probably 30 minutes from here. I think that's a huge downfall.
Yep.
I think a lot more people would be interested in doing that, the bike trail, but it's been flooded, which I get is out of anybody's control, but so that's kind of knocked that out of the park for anybody to utilize. The movie theater's awesome. We went to it on Saturday. That was a big
Amen.
win.
Yes,
That
that's
was
awesome.
great, very appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I just think like for little kids, there's not tons to offer. And I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, so for that, for me is huge. There's not a lot to offer.
Point. All right, what about healthcare? We'll come back to all those things you mentioned, not to blow you off. It's all good. Healthcare 5s?
I'd say
That's
5.
coming from a chiropractor, everybody. Just saying. 5, yes?
Yes.
4's 5s?
Besides the town of Army, a
Yeah.
chiropractor, a dentist, 2 medical clinics, eye doctor, yeah, I mean,
Pharmacy. You're right, we are very well represented in that
our
part.
EMS is,
Yeah.
if you want to lump that in healthcare, though, I think that needs to be stepped up and addressed.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
What was that for?
The EMS, emergency. Okay, last category, opportunity to make a living.
2.
Ooh, okay, good. Anybody else so bold? Anybody else
We
have?
said 4.
2, 4. What's the
4.
general? Are we more 2 or are we more 4?
We got 4.
Some more 4s? Some people are happy, some people are not, okay? That's pretty much what we came up with as well. So that's just a great example for you guys to think about this. So we had to think of all these things and then figure out, okay, do we have problems, do we have challenges, do we have positives? Yes, we identified all of those right now, and we'll go through some of those as well. And then we worked out some action steps here, which we'll get to in a minute. Our challenges, we're a bedroom community, it seems like. I didn't really think that when I lived here years ago. It didn't seem that way, but it's definitely gone that way now. Would anyone disagree?
Now.
More so bedroom community. Limited job potential here in town. We're in a rural economy, which is typically often a depressed and challenged economy of its own. We are landlocked. We can't really just go build another whatever outside of town because we are stuck with the size we have. We have a housing shortage. How many people think we have a housing shortage? Right. If anyone has moved to town recently, they definitely know there's a housing shortage, especially for homes that are larger than 2 bedroom. Apparently there's, I don't know if they're all busy or what, but there's a lot of homes that are only 2 bedroom if they come on the market. There aren't very many empty lots if you want to build a house. Those aren't available. They're not selling, they're not around, they're not available. And according to some real estate people here in town, we have like 46 empty or unoccupied homes. I don't know how many homes are total, but that's a pretty large number of houses that no one can live in, no one can buy them, no one can do anything with them. They're just sitting there, and often they're going into disrepair and making parts of our town or our neighborhoods not look so great, right? Which then influences if your house wants, you want to sell your house or buy a house, if the one next to it isn't looking so good, or is one of these 46, changes your decision. And many of them are single occupants. That was part of our statistics in here too, of the stats. It was householders living alone, and we were at over 30% of our population, and I think that's probably even gone up since that number was in 2010. So that's a significant difference as well. There are some rentals. Some of you in here, I think, are landlords to those people, but apparently they turn around so fast and there's a high demand for them, and so they never really need to market or advertise them because they're never available very long. So that's obviously a concern for people trying to move to town. And then the one we brought up, the big elephant in the room, I guess, is that the broken bike path doesn't connect. It now breaks us up from town and the lake. So that is a bummer. So who are Paullina's people? We got a good mix of people in here. We've got young people with and without children. We have this talk with the younger ones. We have alumni who've come back home to work or start businesses. We have business owners in here. We have people who work as professionals in different industries in and out of town. We have some retirees and snowbirds. Anybody in the house? Oh, they're already still in Arizona because the weather didn't change yet. Grandparents, and then we have the teens, which who knows what to do with teens? See me later, I don't. Younger kids, we got the kids, and what do we do with kids, right? This has been stated already. There's not a lot for kids to do, and I can agree. It doesn't seem to be a lot for teenagers as well. So how do you reach them, and then what do they want and need in the town? That's also a factor, right? So let's go through some of our positives. Who would agree with this list? It's probably a little small. If you guys can't see, you can crowd on in. But the Paullina Lake, right? The bike path, previous bike path, golf course, city parks. Does anybody think of city? Can you think of how many city parks we have or where those spaces are? We have the junior high and high school here. That is a huge benefit to us. We were at the meeting in Sutherland last night, and one of their big things they still say is they don't have a school there, right? And we know that happened years ago. I won't say how many, but I know. And we have Zion, St. John's School. We have a new daycare. We have churches, a couple, one empty, I think, right now. The library, great resource. We met there. We have to plug them. And the movie theater. We already just talked to the movie theater. Yay! And the hardware store, the represented grocery store. We have talked about healthcare, the clinics, the chiropractor, dentist, eye doctor, pharmacy. I probably left some off. Hair salons, we now have massage therapists in town, we've got banking choices, we've got lawyers, insurance, we got body shop, auto repair, we got construction trades, we got all of it, right? We got everything. Restaurants, bars, we have choices. That was another thing in Sutherland, they said they wanted a sit-down restaurant, they wanted a coffee shop, they wanted these, we have all that stuff, right? There's a lot of shops for shopping, retail type shops, with Broadway Marketplace, Prairie Wallens, Old Market Antiques. We have the Deer dealership, it's not at downtown anymore, but it's still nearby. Elevator, of course, break. It's there, right? Casey's, renovation, relocation, and the old DG at the bottom there, Dollar Gen. Okay, so here's our beautiful space on a cloudy day. Slightly soggy, but, right? It's still a cool place. How many people use the lake at least once a summer? All right, everybody should raise their hand. So the good news is, it's still there. The bad news is, it's a little challenging to get to if you were going to try to do it the healthy way. You now have to drive. But they're working on a plan. There are committees. There are people dealing. There's a lot of factors involved. Some of you, if someone here is here on the committee, they can speak about it at the end if you want. But there's DOT regulations. There's rules. I don't know. But they're working on it. And they're working on revising it, maybe making an alternative that doesn't even go where it was. But obviously the problem is, what happens this summer? That's not going to fix maybe hopefully by next summer. But what do we do this summer? Because I saw kids crossing the street like on a little trike, like across Highway 10 right by the bridge. Scary, scary stuff.
Uber.
Yeah, that's what we need. Shuttle. So we have a lot of churches, we have schools and daycare. Some of these are just people who decide to take pictures and break that below for fun. We have a lot of choices. We have the volunteer theater, the medical clinics. That's not usually the case in a small town like this. We have industry of all kinds, building, banking, shopping. Let me gloss over this for those of you with businesses in town here. Your cheaper cost of living, friendly people. It feels like home for most of us, right? We have tree-lined streets. Those are looking really good right now. And props to the people who planted those flowering ones. Are they not awesome right now? They're beautiful. There's lots of activity in town, but now it looks really busy out here. People are like, what's going on at the Lau building? What am I missing? And there's community support. I think you'd agree that for the school's sake, the community gets behind the school and the football team, the basketball team, the bands. They show up for the concerts and the performances and the games. Our education system is something to tout here. And then we have fun stuff like Jamboree. Who's been to Jamboree before? Almost everybody, hopefully. Otherwise, it's June 29th. See you there. And we have high-speed fiber internet. Now, as a person who didn't live in town until recently, that is a big deal. I'll just tell you. And it was a big topic at Sutherland's last night, too. They have it but don't have it or something, and there were some issues with that. So that is a big thing that I think can be used and marketed for businesses to draw them to town. Our retail considerations. We have Main Street. It's great. We have pretty much businesses in them, but some big major storefronts are empty, right? And then what happens? They don't get sold. They don't get turned into something. They sit. I don't know. What are we going to do about that, right? I don't have all the answers, I'm just here to point the clicker. So we have new development though, on the edges. We got some bunkers, we got Dollar General. We got some stuff at the lake that could be developed possibly for connecting people into town. Mill Creek Concessions is out there during the summer, which is awesome. And then there's ways to get rentals. I know Eric is working on trying to get rentals and things connected so that people know that there's stuff in town as well. And then if you think back to what happened when we lost Dinos, and then we got the Casey's relocation thing that took forever, and it's finally happening. Isn't it tonight they close at 11, people? And then like tomorrow they're open or something? Crazy. But I was trying to go back and remember what else was around as you go through. There was a bowling alley, there was a department store, a laundromat, a bakery, a fitness center, which we talked about when we were there, and a locker plant, right? Anything else that people can remember that I don't remember? What do you think? Oh yeah, really. Right? Okay. Clicky, clicky, clicky. My clicker died. Did it? Maybe. Oh no, my computer might. It's spinning. Uh-oh. Bathroom break. It's unresponsive. Go get a cookie, everybody. Shane said that the bakery was awesome. I had a bakery. Uh-oh.
Somebody in the antique store.
Okay, well, we're having some technical difficulties. I worked my computer too hard today. And it's revolting. So we're going to do a restart. Make that go.
Regular on the left-hand side and common on the right-hand side.
You really do.
And everybody's required to get something to drink, and so take breaks.
Now Laura's going to do a little dance for you. Anything you want to add?
Oh, that's, yeah. Oh,
Just out of curiosity.
Have the small I guess Burger has So good, my son loved it.
It's evolved,
Tammy, how many people are on?
it's been good for a long time.
16.
And we gotta make them.
No pressure.
So many people are getting on, it's reaching my way out.
Everybody's still on watching.
Very good.
They're waiting, we were impressed. Now we got Eric. Now we got computer up, you know what I'm saying?
And then that's a little guy.
Oh, I remember that.
Right.
Anybody have any more comments on our report card while we're waiting to get the projector to show our screen down? Anything good or bad? Anything you want to vote for we should improve? Because we're also taking notes on what you're saying today, and then that's what we're gonna.
On safety, could we have more street lights? Like I live on, I mean granted, I live like on the way edge of town, but it's very dark. Very, very dark. Otherwise, I think safety overall is good. I just think more street lights could be useful.
Street lights at work.
Yes, that too.
Street lights at work at all times.
I don't know why I'm so picky. We need streetlights that work all the time. Come on, big ol'.
Can't have a light out there, come on. Let's put a light bulb in one of them and make sure that.
There is some more involved.
It's also difficult that
Oh, but I like
these are senior population. You don't have much for senior living. So once you can't be in your home, we lose that aspect of our community.
That's true, that's what we do not have anymore. We did have one. Those, we do not have that. Senior living or assisted living home. Never mind, we figured out we're not plugged in.
What was the population 10 years ago?
10 years ago for Paullina, and 2010 we were 1,054, and 2011, 26. So we're slowly dropping. 1126 was in 2000. Thanks for coming around.
We're doing our part.
Eric's out there.
We're doing our part.
Here's Paige coming out again. Where we did that. We're in this one, so. Okay, so some of us talked about public spaces, parks, sports areas, and we had a lot of conversations about things. We have a lot of these things, they just sometimes maybe need a little addition or an adjustment that would help us, right? So the city park is great, it's there. It could probably use some updated playground equipment, right? I think everybody would agree with that. We also had some just big discussions about adding a splash pad, watering, play area. They're really popular, other places are doing them around here, and so there's a lot of effort involved in that and finding out with the city and engineering, and there's a lot and some costs involved. We were just getting started on that, but there may be that pursued later, and if you're interested at all, definitely let us know and we'll try to help you start the committee or something for that. So the Swanson Sports Complex, who goes up there and watch the games? It's almost fall season. Someday if it stops raining, we'll get to see a game over there. But we have some parking issues, right? You can park and get your windshield hit. I've done that. You can park on the tennis court, but then nobody can play tennis. And then there's no playground equipment. How many people see the kids? They run around and just catch the balls that fly out, foul balls. But that's not really entertaining them for the 3 hours they sit there for the game, right? So maybe a playground equipment up there might be an idea. Some of the things we talked about.
What are they there for? To watch the games? Or
Yeah, but they're not. What siblings walking the other way? The little ones, yeah. We're talking like little, maybe for little playground areas. The school basketball court, which used to be tennis courts, but anyway, basketball. and I think there used to be lights and a timer and things like that. We talked about that might be a way to get some space for the teens to play basketball, or maybe you could have adult leagues play there, and just using that space potentially, although we heard it might not be there much longer, I don't know. We won't put you on the spot on that, but there's an option for that.
That we're gonna remove the,
That's what you heard. You're not there?
who said that?
I don't know.
Never reveals herself.
I don't know where it came from. Yeah, exactly. All anonymous here. The gazebo lot. Who knows what I'm talking about when I say the gazebo lot? Right over here. Right over here, right? How many people thought it looked pretty cute at Christmas when they lit it all up and hung that stuff? That was nice, wasn't it? Looked festive, and the city did that, so tell them thanks. I think that's an unused space. Nobody goes there. I've never seen anyone sit in that gazebo. I don't think ever.
I
Have you
think
sat?
that.
Yeah, you maybe. You would, Eric, right? Eric's gonna be there, so you have to fight for a sheep.
They'll have a picnic with his kids.
Yes, fight them off for a jelly sandwich. We think that's maybe a space we could use for gathering, socializing, getting people to sit and visit, maybe listen to music. Talk about maybe projecting movies on the wall. Anyway, it's a nice space. What about a farmer's market? Is there one here? Anybody still or was?
It's not a vegetable vendor, it's being discussed.
It's being discussed.
Find a vegetable vendor,
A vegetable vendor.
yeah, kind of the anchor. So,
Seems like there should be
you know,
options
anybody who
around.
has a good
But it's a
vegetable
garden.
garden.
Or how about the community garden?
Or, yeah, the second part of that would be a community garden. If we can find an available lot, are people interested, would they do
It's gonna be a
that?
bad year to start a community garden though. All the rain.
Yes, we need good drainage.
Community mud hole.
Okay, we talked about the benches. How many people can think right now, close your eyes and picture where there's a bench? You know what I'm talking about, the benches, there's the black metal ones, there's the wood ones, all over town, right? Like every 3 feet there's another bench.
There's too many of them.
That is the problem apparently, and the city that doesn't know what to do with them, they're gonna either give them back to the people or destroy them or something. So maybe we need to have some creative ideas to reuse, repurpose them. Maybe we could turn them into bike racks, because we could use some of those outside, like some of the main businesses there. Some of you have probably tipped over a bike with this wind lately we've had. The library, and then if we're gonna become a bike-friendly town, which we have a bike path, and if we're gonna, we should probably have bike racks. It seems obvious, and yet when you all go, we don't have any bike racks. The library is a key space, again, to promote. We should all think about having our meetings there. They're very nice and welcoming, and they have lots of cool programming for people. So don't forget the libraries in town, people. I know you can read books on your phone, but sometimes real books are good too. And look, where are we? Our room. So there's the city park, for those of you who don't drive past it. It's kind of a free picture up there, but that's the playground. It's not terrible playground equipment. It's just this one, oh wait, can I leave your point?
The shelters were done at the Quas Suite
Yeah, it must be the last
11 years
thing.
ago. So
That was
those two were done
The
11
roof
years
needs to
ago.
be fixed on that guy again. And anyway, but it's a good time, right? Who was there for the Easter egg hunt? There were like a lot of kids there and grandparents. It was fun. I need to go. All right. Whew. Oh, we don't have anything. We gotta go. Oh, I got a lot. So we're gonna work on some things we came up with. Chamber of Commerce. Part of the group here is involved in the chamber. Other people are trying to get into the chamber. So it made sense to talk about what the chamber is doing and how can we help the chamber. Are we the chamber? Are we not? It's this whole division of labor. I don't care who does it. Somebody just needs to do stuff, right? So the chamber is working on identifying themselves better and figuring out what they are. And do you have the purpose memorized yet? You have it? Who might make
Have
me
it.
that in a minute? Okay. So they're trying to, and it's a great thing that they came up with, and it helps identify what they're doing and what we're trying to do as a town and how they're going to help. So as they're developing and changing, I think you'll see that role become better in this town. It sounds like the reputation of the chamber has maybe not been the best in recent years, so we're going to try to gussy that up. What about a welcome wagon for new residents? How many of you ever lived in a town where they had like a welcome wagon thing and you got something?
We used to have
People?
one.
Yes, and we did, used to have one, you're right.
Community Betterment Council used to have one.
The who did? The
Community
Betterment?
Betterment Council used to have one.
Is that
Everybody
still
that came
exist?
into town has asked it.
Excellent.
We had volunteers that would take it around, but it just kind of disappeared when the Community Betterment Council disappeared.
Let's restart them all. You're in charge. That was easy. Okay, next.
I think I'm still the president.
So, yeah. But don't you think, if you came to town and you get on knowledgeable things. What, you don't get anything else. I don't know if there's, unless I drove by and saw what businesses are in town, you don't know what their hours are. You know, could you throw in a coupon for a pizza, just things like that. What about being able to connect the businesses with everybody who comes to town, who doesn't necessarily know all that we do?
I think we could use a welcome wagon for half the people in this town.
Good point, who weren't welcome to the previously.
People, it amazes me when somebody comes in the store and I've never seen them before, and I ask them where they're from and they tell me they're from Paullina. Oh, really? When did you come here? Oh, 5 years ago. You know, and they have no clue what's available because they work out of town, they drive back into town to sleep. They leave, they go buy groceries, they go buy whatever they want anyplace else, but they have no clue what's going on in town.
That is a bad problem, right? So how can we fix that? We talked about, part of this is maybe having them all come to here to have a coffee or a cocktail hour, something like once a month or every other month, or try to see have enough people to show up. Apparently there's, in the summer, obviously there's a lot more people who move in for school reasons, and in the winter, who wants to liquor? I mean, none of us do, right? So we don't move in people, but then you know, have kind of get together and meet people like, oh, you run that, oh, you have that, okay, you know, so it's just a way to identify people in town, and I think we'd all be willing to be sociable, right? For a little bit pause. Speaking of being sociable, how about bingo? Bingo was in this house a couple weeks ago, and it's coming back June 3rd. Thank you. 3rd. First Monday of every month we're going to have here 6:30 to 8:30. It's fun. Mark does an amazing job calling the numbers, and we're going to work on some prizes and fun things. Matt's going to help us out. People were here. Like, we didn't really advertise. We kind of winged it the last minute. You know, we were supposed to kind of maybe wait for you guys to vote on things, but we decided, let's just try that and see what happens. And we had like 35 people here. Right? So that's not bad for the first time. Hopefully we get like 60. Well, maybe not. We don't have probably that many supplies, but 40 something. So then we also did something else that, because we had the time to do it, we talked about the big thing with a lot of us is their graduates are going off, and many of them like try to get as far away from town as they can. Some of them will end up like Ames, you know, not real far, but still far enough away that they think they're far enough away, and they don't say, I'm never coming back. I was one of those people, and here I am. Somebody else, anybody else said when they left, they weren't coming back. There's a show of hands over here. So we come back. It's like a boomerang here. And that is actually a benefit. So we wanted the grads that are leaving today to think about and know that they're always welcome back here. You can always come back. It may be in 2 years, or maybe in 20, but you're always welcome to come back. We'd love to have you come and run a business, start your family, just to be like a nice little thing. So we wrote up a nice little letter, and we're all signing it, and we're going to send that out to each of the grads from this year and let them know, it's going to go in the garbage. But
And we want some of them to leave.
we got a list.
But I mean, we need people to leave, not literally, but
We don't have
we need different ideas, we need different,
We
we
need
need to learn things, we need to go see something else.
We need their experiences and their perspective to change and come back.
And then some of it, Just kidding.
Some people were hating.
I was that one, sorry guys, I can
Did you find your chamber thing? There?
Yes.
Do you mind reading that right now?
Sure. So our chamber mission statement that we came up with was promoting business and industry by enhancing community life. And then we also came up with a purpose, which is a little bit more in-depth. And that read, the purpose of the Paullina Chamber of Commerce is to promote and improve business, stimulate a vibrant local economy, and engage in a cooperative effort to enhance the overall quality of life in Paullina through the continuation and improvement of the social, professional, and community environments.
Let's just give you a round of applause. What do we want for? It's all good. That makes sense, right? We're all trying to improve all the stuff. We want to improve the work side of it, we want to improve the social side of it, we want to improve our physical spaces. It's because it takes all of it to make a community, right? But then we have cool things going on, but people don't know. People didn't know about bingo because we just made it up. But we're going to try to figure out a way to connect and coordinate calendars so that there's a way where people know when the jamboree is for the next year, when the hometown Christmas is going to be, so that they can plan for some people. We have people come from Hawaii for jamboree, I'm just saying. Anyway, so it happens. People do book their vacations to come here during our events. So you need to show up to those events so that those people can, be entertained. All right, website overhaul. How many people have been to the Paullina website, chamber website? How many people have been embarrassed that they're at that website and not found what they were looking for and wondered why their minutes from 2014? It's clearly an outdated thing. It exists, it's there, it has some businesses listed, some older ones. We did do a renovation where we at least brought that up to date, I think, with most of the people that are still in business today and the ones that weren't. Organizations and things are listed there. It's a great resource, or could be. So the problem is, we talk about the people that we're going to try to attract. If we want to attract younger people, what do? They go to a website, and then they're not finding or they're finding a negative connotation about our town. So then the other side of that, what if we could put like job listings and real estate listings together all in one place too, so that again, they're not just Google hunting everything. And then social media is a huge aspect to the younger crowd as well. How many people are on social media of one kind or 20 kinds? Oh man, that's pretty much everybody. Steve, come on, you are too. Reluctant, you did it. Okay, Facebook, Instagram. We talked about how Facebook is kind of probably for this whole general group. It's a larger group that's reaching, but Instagram is really the younger crowd. So if we're going to try to attract the younger crowd and get them either coming back with families or coming back to work, we may need to establish an Instagram account for the town. Bike path renovation, we talked about that earlier. It's a big issue. It's always there. It will be until we fix it. But hopefully there's wellness grants or something we can get. I saw Cherokee County got some wellness grant money for theirs, just saying. And then if we do have people who might want to help host triathlon bike races to, again, use that great bike path that we all just take for granted as a way to get ice cream. Paullina Lake promotion. Who does it? Okay, it's for real. You earn it if you walk out there, right?
That's right.
Otherwise, it's not right. The Paullina Lake, it's a great resource. Okay, how many people have a barefoot bar or Camp Okoboji or Lake Okoboji t-shirt? Pretty much everybody. No. Almost everybody. If you go to an airport in Las Vegas, you'll find all of you. You wear them, and everywhere you go, you wear Iowa State. You wear your shirt. You wear your pride. You wear your town. Why don't we have Paullina Lake t-shirts, right? So we're going to make some Paullina Lake t-shirts. We're actually that was one of those things we kind of jumped ahead of and started doing. And we're going to try to find places to sell them. But
Is the shirt store not doing it anymore?
Well, we actually need to go for information. Okay.
So we're just going to say Paullina Lake.
Sweet, good. What? It only says Paullina Lake, not Mill Creek State Park.
It says jump into the Paullina Lake.
I didn't get a picture of it in the thing, sorry. And then we have some photos coming up with things here we're going to do. And again, if you have other ideas for t-shirts, you just want to, make some t-shirts and sell them, let's do it. People will wear them. If you build them, they will make them. How many people can recognize or think of what the sign looks like at the Highway 10 Main Boulevard? What does it look like? It's what?
It's
green.
Black and white.
It's what? It's green.
That shelter up
That
top.
shingle shelter thing on top.
You can't see it unless you're.
Also, all of our flags, all of our organizations.
Evergreens in the way.
There's a big evergreen behind it, which looks nice at Christmas. So, all right, well, anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute, about what I said after that. And then we had some idea, really just last night, that came to us, some bit of inspiration, that maybe we should go to community other events and have a parade promoting Paullina. I was Little Miss Paullina years ago, and it was on a float that said, "Try us, we're friendly." Awkward, right? Probably not appropriate today. Oh, yeah. Not digital, though, pre-digital. But, yeah, and you had to wait a week to get them from the farmers. But, right, why don't we have a town float?
We did a Quasqueak float for several years, and we still have that float somewhere.
No, we don't.
Oh,
Burned
We
it,
ditched
but,
it.
oh, okay, well, anyway, that's,
We turned it
11
over to
years
the
old,
chamber
so-
to use as a Paullina float.
yeah, what did
And
you
it
do?
got ditched.
they did it for quite a few years, they went to every.
We're bringing it
Bring
back.
it back!
That's what
Who
you
wants to build a float? Rose parade, everybody! Okay,
Took that.
so that's it.
Okay, so I've only been here 2 years and managed the Bryan County Fair in the last couple. Is there still a Miss Paullina? Do we do that? Like,
last time. was
We haven't done that
Quasqueak.
with the,
Quasqueak.
was the last time.
Iowa State Bank.
What?
Iowa State Bank sponsored that one.
And then we started 11 years ago.
It's a while ago. So whether we bring back that, that's, someone can volunteer for that as well.
I have all the
Show of hands.
paperwork, I did it, if anybody wants, I don't want to run. That's who you're volunteering.
Okay, well, our next event, biggest thing we're working on right now, many of us are working on it, and all of us could be working on it, is the started doing this. I only went to my first one last year, so I got some catching up to do. This is, don't look real closely, but it's a work in progress right here, schedule of events, and as you can see, there's a lot of fun things there. We were trying to play it up, make it bigger and better, and so we had a logo contest. How many people saw that posted on Facebook or anything about that? Or had people they knew entered it? So we are working with some people. We had like 25, I forgot to count officially, 25 different designs, which is really more than I thought. And the committee liked a lot of them. And so now we actually have 3 favorites. One which will be the Jamboree logo. Drum roll, yay. And one, I'll show you these in a few minutes. And then one that we're going to turn into a t-shirt for the Jamboree. And one that we're going to use perhaps as the sign at the end of Main and the Boulevard as an idea. So we'll show you that. We've also added some Friday night stuff, a little bit of kickoff, warm-up party, and then we're going to add a Saturday morning 5K and breakfast. You guys are going to hear more about that on Facebook. Hopefully the parade gets bigger and better. Maybe we have our own float in it, whatever. We're going to have a concession stand open at the park. How many people played softball and then didn't know where there was food or drink? And of course now Casey's will be closer, but you'll now have better options. There's a slow pitch tournament, sign up your team, and party in the park, truck show at the airport, and then fireworks. And we're going to feed you watermelon. It's not good for me, but who likes watermelon? So this is a work in progress of the Jamboree logo winner. She's still modifying it for us right now. Who likes it? Yay. It's Erin Cullison, if anybody knows Erin or family members. So that's what we got there. And then this was sort of our runner-up design that ended up, we think could be this replacement for this sign, the green thing, without the shingles. So maybe we're working with that. Dustin is working with some sign companies and we'll see what we can come up with. But I think that looks pretty cool. And then we can just change the date of the Jamboree so that everybody knows what year, as soon as we pick the date, we can put the official date on there, and there it is. And then this was sort of the backup prize. People just kept liking it. It doesn't really work with the logo because it's too detailed for too much information, but it does work for a t-shirt. So it kind of just lists all the things that are fun going on from that inside the t-shirt. We're taking t-shirt orders tonight. Just kidding, we're not, but that was Tiana, is that how I say it? Tiana Tesh is design, and she helped to do that. And oh, here's our bingo. Look, there were people. A little cute little one. So what we're doing is we're going to try to do these for the next couple over summer, and then ideally we want to have organizations, churches, or even businesses sponsor a month, and you and your employees or you and your people work it, and you can run it, and then you get different groups of people being invited in, and it's still open to everybody, but then we just kind of share the workload, and you bring a pan of bars instead of me. See? I got cookies tonight. All right, so social media we talked about, we have to fix Facebook and Instagram. There is a current Chamber of Commerce Facebook page. Who has liked it? Some of you are ignoring my invites. Just kidding. Thank you. But we're talking about maybe that should become more of a general city one. The city doesn't have one, and sometimes if you're friends with one of the city employees, you will find out whether the garbage trucks are broken that day, and that's why they didn't pick them up. It's just an unusual way to inform people at this point, so maybe they would consider grouping that contact. And then also in Sutherland last night they talked about there's apparently, what's our group here? If you know you're from Paullina, if whatever, there's like 500 some people on that. There's other groups of Facebook groups that need to be all unified, or at least a place to find it. Everybody can find them for different businesses without having to try to search. We talked about trying to start some viral photo posts, creating an Instagram account, maybe making some fun hashtags that then people get familiar and can use, and then they can see. It's just, again, trying to build that younger crowd social media marketing and get all of us involved. So we talked a little bit about the chamber and the events. We're trying to make them so that it's understood that there are 4 main events. Typically they're about 1 per quarter. And then they can add events like when the circus is coming to town, which it is, August. It's coming. And the Jamboree's in June. The fall fling is usually in October. Hometown Christmas kind of came back, or the Christmas one in December. And the Easter egg hunt we already had, spring fling. So those kind of 4 events are things like, okay, you're always in town or you're never in town at that time. Then we'll think about how could you help? Could you just, we just see people sometimes to like work the little things or watch people in a bouncy house. It's really easy. We won't give you hard jobs. But those are the kinds of things. So if you know people who aren't here tonight, volunteer them. Because that's what we're going to talk about in the next step here is if you're here, you care, right? And now, if we can all make Paullina better, if we step up and use some of these ideas. So now we want to hear your ideas, and have you kind of vote and see what we came up with is good or bad, and who wants to help on all of it. So thank you for listening to me. I'm gonna hydrate.
Any questions or comments?
That's not the way
I wrote Brenda Luna Paullina.
Not so little anymore.
And Mr.
We do have up here, we have some splash pad ideas we printed out for that idea, if you want to get some better idea of what that is. We have some of the logos we printed, so you can look at those. T-shirt design, that kind of thing, some of the things. So there's been some work done by people already, and there's still work to be done, so we gladly would accept any and all contributions.
Do you want to talk about the things that you have prioritized then in terms of so far?
Sure, we just tried to group, as you saw, we have a lot of ideas and things